It's a naive thing for many founders and entrepreneurs to go chasing for vanity metrics. Envision a world where everyone has the power, freedom, and the tools they need to communicate products 10 times more effectively than they are doing today.
Welcome to another episode of AllAboutAI.com exclusive interview series. Today, we have Joseph Lee, CEO of Supademo. In this interview, we'll discuss his journey, the inspiration behind Supademo, and how the platform is transforming product demos with AI-driven tools. Let's get started. So let's begin with your journey. What inspired you to create Supademo, and how did your previous experiences especially with Freshline, an entirely different industry, and other ventures shape the development of this AI-powered demo platform?
So I think for me, I've been a lifelong entrepreneur. I've been building ever since I can remember. And for me, whenever I look at a new market opportunity or an industry, it's all about potential impact and what kind of dent I can make on the universe. And for me, when I looked at the Supademo opportunity, it's very clear that any knowledge worker, whether you're a marketer, operator, a founder, someone in customer success, has this innate need to train, guide, onboard, or demonstrate specific products and workflow. But the current ways that they're doing this is, resource intensive, inadequate, unmaintainable, and just scattered. There is really no best practice. So when I saw that opportunity, when I was, in the headspace of exploring new ideas after moving on from Freshline, I knew that was the right one I wanted to be in. And working at Freshline was a very esoteric, complicated product with a lot of bells and whistles, selling to maybe a group of people that weren't tech native, right? You're talking about owners and operators at distribution plants or perishable wholesalers, really blue collar folks. And we had a really hard time with that problem ourselves of trying to demonstrate our key, core features and benefits and in an interactive and engaging and kind of foolproof way. And so I was able to kind of parlay a lot of that experience and connect with the problem that we're solving at Supademo.
Oh, amazing.
Yeah.
So can you, again, it's very quick, early to ask. Can you share any movement, pivotal moment during Supademo early stages that significantly influenced the direction and the strategy of the whole concept?
I think the strategy and direction, I think it's good to have a sense and a vision of where you see the world moving, but ultimately the tactical way you get there and kind of the rungs to the ladder needs to be determined by customer feedback. So we were lucky enough to get adoption and engagement from thousands of customers at a very, very early stage, and they helped inform really everything that Supademo has built and has become today.
I see. You've been also recognized as a folks under 30, right? If I'm not wrong, right? So
Yes.
That's great actually. How have these accolades, especially Thiel Fellow, influenced your approach to entrepreneurship and innovation at Supademo or Freshline? Yes.
Very little. I think I think it's a naive thing for many founders and entrepreneurs to go chasing for vanity metrics and press and recognition. It's kind of a shiny reward that is often too widely celebrated.
True, yes.
And really what matters is the business outcomes. How are you actually making tangible impact within the community at large, and how are you scaling your company? The Forbes under 30, all these other accolades are great to have, and they're accolades that celebrate some of the work that you've done, and you should definitely pat yourself on the back here and there, but by no means are they the final goal that you're trying to march towards. And neither does it actually impact the business at large in a really tangible way.
Yeah, a wise response, to be honest. With a history of building 0 to 1 products, how does Superdemo differ from your previous ventures in terms of challenges and growth opportunities?
I mean, we're operating in very tangentially different industries, right? The opportunity space, the ICP, the segment, how we grow, they're all very different. Freshline was very much a traditional sales-led B2B SaaS platform where it was all about, you know, how many dials do we get and how many cold calls are we ringing and how many demos are we booking.
I
And
see.
for us at Supademo, it's really how do we build a core product experience where as we improve the product and really refine the experience,
Mhm.
it really sells itself. So for Supademo, it's a product-led growth company. There's inherently virality baked into the core of our product, where you create product demos, product tutorials, product onboarding to share with other stakeholders, whether it's internally or externally.
Mhm.
And when somebody walks through that magic of learning by doing and stepping through the product without actually having to sign up or commit or endure friction, they want to try it themselves, right? And we make it really, really easy for them to try it without
Mhm.
signing up, putting in a credit card. And only when they find value is when they when they upgrade, essentially.
I see, I see. We'll definitely be asking you about the ideal use case, but before that, what is a super demo's core mission, I would say?
Yeah, I mean, I think we envision a world where, you know, everyone has the power, freedom, and the tools they need to communicate products 10 times more effectively than they are doing today.
Amazing. So, can you explain the philosophy behind the name? Though the name is obviously already self-explanatory, but still, what was in your mind when you were coming up with the idea of super demo? Any
Yeah, I
philosophy?
think there's no philosophy behind it. I think it's just an easy kind of roll off your tongue
Mhm.
name for people
Mhm.
to be able to remember
Mhm.
your product and service. I don't think the name really in a startup matters as much unless you're really at scale.
Mhm.
So yeah,
I
that's a
see.
little piece of advice for folks that overemphasize, you know, buying specific domain names that for
Mhm.
like 100K. I don't think that's a great idea in the beginning, early days.
Okay.
Um, yeah.
So I think, yeah, of course, action is more important than your name. What you do, that what matters the most than the name. All right. Can you like how does super demo branding contribute to its appeal among marketers, CSMs, and founders across various industries?
Yeah, I think branding is really important. I think you know, it's the core thing that invokes like emotion and like uh, thinking within like the customer base. So whether it's instilling trust or making your company product brand seem approachable, I think branding is pretty paramount to how we're perceived within the market. So we put a lot of emphasis and time towards uh, both the high level, but also like the tactical design elements of what we push out to customers on a day-to-day basis. Yeah, we're horizontally applicable to many different types of industries. I would say specifically, we add the most value within kind of the traditional B2B SaaS
All right.
segment,
Mhm.
specifically for software companies that have more like complicated workflows or complex products with a lot of features that
Mhm.
require a lot of um, you know teaching and demonstrations and
Mhm.
onboarding efforts
Mhm.
to really get people enabled and adopted the right way. So that's where we benefit customers the most, but we also have many customers, thousands of customers in random industries that we didn't think we were that valuable in, like insurance, for example, or financial services, where people are getting value from our platform.
All right, makes sense. So what exactly the procedure of like if I may ask you, just give me an ideal use case of super demo, let's say like you guys are actually buying the tool or the product or the software to get it a good demo to the client, or what exactly the
Yeah,
criteria?
yeah. Yeah, there's many different use cases. If I had to highlight three core or the
Mhm.
most popular ones,
Mhm.
one would be sales, just as you had mentioned. I think using kind of interactive product demos before actually jumping on a sales call to qualify
All right.
whether you actually want to talk to that customer or if that customer wants to talk to you, whether it's a good fit, so that you're actually utilizing resources towards the highest and most qualified prospects. After the sales demo, you basically leave essentially a sales like leave behind where, say you have a champion within that organization you're trying to sell to, they now have something tangible and tactile that they can send out to other decision makers on the team and really sell internally
Mhm.
without being having to be an expert in your own language or marketing. Because you know that if you share like a meeting recording or a video, it's just not going to get watched, and you have no insight as to who watched it, for how long, where they fell off. All these metrics are provided via Supademo.
Okay.
Other than that, on the marketing front, I think anywhere you need to show and not tell, showcase your product kind of in an interactive, ungated, back and forth way. You can do that in product updates, like embedding, tutorials or demos of new features that you want to drive adoption for. Or you can put it right on your landing page so that customers don't even need to click sign up and put in their email and put in their content. They can get a quick sneak peek of what your product actually does and how it's valuable for them without having to jump through hoops. And lastly, I would say is customer success onboarding. So anytime you need to onboard new customers on all the bells and whistles, the features within your product, and make that resource accessible anytime, anywhere, whether it's sharing it as a link in an email, whether you're going through it in an onboarding call, whether you're embedding it directly in like an LMS or an onboarding guide or support doc. Our product is pretty malleable to fit into any type of workflow.
See, I see. Okay. So, have you done any market research before building this project, or it was your own observation, or maybe your experience with Freshline that you have mentioned? So, is there any particular market research you conducted?
Yeah, I think there's always like a general sense of market research you should do, customer validation, discovery. Um, but when you're so early, I think it's important to act instead of think. I think there's a sense of analysis paralysis that can happen where you over index on the research and under index on the actual work that needs to be done in order to push the product forward. So yes, there definitely needs to be some sort of idea validation and understanding that is the problem that I'm solving painful enough where it warrants like a business to be built around it? And is it widespread enough where enough people have that same problem where I can scale this across multiple places? And both of those need to be answered in order for you to have a business.
Makes sense. So, can we say that talking about the AI products, especially, of course, once the need is there, you should build it rather than just focusing on the market research or numbers highlighting, okay, how many people exactly want it.
Yeah, and those market research metrics are never going to be correct,
All
right? I
right.
think it's a false positive. So I think as long as you have a hunch and you have a good insight as to it being big enough or the market
Mhm.
being large
Mhm.
and painful enough, I think you should just put your head down and build and get things out there.
I see. I see. How has, like talking about from the launch phase, how has Superdema evolved? What were some of the significant changes based on user feedback or market trends, if you can highlight?
Um, and naturally, I think we started off as a very, very, very simple single use product that
Okay.
solved a painful problem for like a very specific niche. From there, we just layered on a bunch of additional features, functionalities, and product lines that serve a greater cohort of use cases, some of which I mentioned across sales, marketing, customer success. So I think for us, it's important to continue keeping the product experience simple and delightful and easy for anyone to be able to pick up without over inundating people with too many features or complexity,
Mhm.
um, while still having enough bells and whistles where power users can come in and get value and do all the things that they want to do beyond just the core experience if they choose to do so. Not unlike, a PowerPoint, where you go into PowerPoint or Excel, the core use case is the same across everyone, but you want to do something advanced like use macros or do something esoteric, but you can find it and you can use it, but that doesn't take away from that core simplicity of the experience.
I see. I see. Okay, talking about the competitive, like the market space of like products like Supademo. So I was just searching the net. I didn't find any good, you can say that, competitor of Supademo. So how do you deal with the competitors? Like how Supademo differentiate itself or ahead of the curve if there are competitors in the market?
Yeah, no, totally. And with any market, there's always competitors. And competitors are good because they push you to be better and they push you to innovate. Ultimately, it's good for consumers. For us, it's about keeping an eye on the landscape and clarity on what other folks are doing, but focusing in on ourselves. Because I think most companies die by suicide than by murder, right? It's like self-inflicted wounds that end up shutting the company down rather than your competitors taking over the market, right? The market itself is massive. The problem space that we're targeting is huge, right? We've just dipped our toes in the water in terms of what's possible.
Right.
And yeah, competitors aren't going to change that.
Yeah, wise enough. What do you consider Supademo's biggest strength, and of course, any area of improvement or innovation?
I mean, there's a million ways we can improve. I'd say in terms of our biggest strength, it's probably velocity of the team. So we are a small and nimble team, but very, very close to the ground when it comes to working with our customers and gathering feedback and shipping changes. So we have a team of generalists that do design, do engineering work, do business work. So my co-founder does a lot of business work. I do a lot of engineering work myself, design work. And that just helps us ship much more quickly with higher velocity and at a higher quality bar. And customers really appreciate that.
So what future opportunity do you see for Supademo to innovate or expand? Again, there's so many ways, but any particularly you are targeting these days or working for it?
Yeah. I think we already have a suite of like Gen AI tools that amplify our existing product experience. But I think as time goes on and models get more refined, I see lots of interesting opportunities to build what we call proactive product demos. So instead of building guidance or building onboarding or building demos based on like preconceived notions of what a sales rep wants to showcase to the customer or thinks that the customer cares about, actually using data that is being collected, whether it's through a Mixpanel Amplitude or other tooling out there, to proactively create these guides or proactively create these tutorials and demos based on old hard facts. So I think that's a pretty tough problem to solve for, but I think with where we are going today, it is very much becoming a possibility.
Good luck with that. So talking about the Gen AI, how does Superdemo leverage AI to create personalized and impactful product demos that resonate with different target audiences?
Bunch of different ways. So I think the usage of Gen AI in Superdemo is all optional. So our core like product experience has legs on its own, but I think it's very useful when people want to, for example, create a lot of like product guides, tutorials, and demos at scale, where we can use Gen AI to automatically detect and write all of the text prompts and annotations for every single step based on the click path of the customer, what they actually did, the prompt, and the DOM HTML element of what they clicked. So for example, a button or an element or a form. Taking all those inputs into question, as well as the screenshot of the image, as well as the video, we're able to write those at scale. So if you're creating, say, for example, support docs and you want to create 100 different product tutorials, we can shave that down, the time spent on like creating these tutorials from say 100 hours to probably like 5 hours.
Right.
So a significant improvement. We also allow you to overlay realistic human-like voiceovers. So in just one click, you're able to overlay voiceovers that dictate each step within the Supademo and also translate that in one step to any language you would like, whether it be Spanish, Portuguese, Korean, Japanese, what have you.
I see. I see. Continuing the Gen AI, it's not wrong to say that. Sorry, is there any? All right. So, LLMs, LAMs, we are all basically experimenting AI. So, what technological challenges of integrating AI you guys have exposed to, and maybe of course facing it, and how do you guys overcome them?
I think a lot of the challenges center around user experience, making AI accessible and intuitive for end users, and making it seamlessly integrate with the product that you've already built out. You don't want it to um, you want it to be part of that core experience, and you don't want it to feel like it's like a standalone AI tool, right? So I think that's like the core thing, and quality checking is another important thing. Models are changing all the time, and you know, you could go from having an amazing model that gives you amazing results to having a really shitty model that gives you imperfect information that actually harms your brand over time, if it gives you the wrong answers. So I think just making sure you do the fine tuning and fact checking and picking the right partner, I think, is really important.
All right, all right. Makes sense. You guys are also working on these like hallucination effect of the LLMs. Okay. Though it's not a very direct question to the product you guys have, but still, with data security becoming increasingly important, how does Superdemo ensure the privacy and the protection of client data during demo creation process?
Yeah, so I think we, well, number one, we're SOC 2 Type 2
All right.
certified.
Mm.
And for us, all of our data is siloed, so customers have full access to provisioning permissions for all of their individual demos, so they can choose to share it just within themselves, share it publicly, share it privately, delete, archive all of their demos, so they have full control. Not unlike, you know, them creating a video, a screen share video, and uploading it on YouTube. So it's fairly simple.
All right, all right. Talking about the user feedback, you already mentioned a couple of things. How do you gather in and incorporate user feedback into your ongoing development of Superdemo? And if you can relate any example or where a user actually help you, for an update or having a feature or improvement.
Yeah, I mean, we constantly talk to our customers, as I mentioned before. We try to stay close to the ground and be in tune with customers' voices. So we have like a public feedback board where we're collecting information. We jump on calls just like this with customers on a weekly basis. We email back and forth with customers. So there's many different channels where we elicit customers to give us feedback, and we try to be a mix of like gut and data driven about what actually matters and what fits in with um, the direction that we want to take the product. And then based on how many times, the frequency, severity, impact, we incorporate it into our product roadmap and we build the thing. Yeah.
All right, fair enough. Talking about now, we're talking about AI, your experience with AI, and of course your exposure with it. How do you see AI evolving in the context of product demos, and how it will enhance consumer engagement and product understanding?
Yeah, no, I think this ties into what I mentioned about proactive demos. I think their demos will become a lot more data driven. You'll be able to know the impact of your content far better than how things are today, where it's more of like a gut feeling of how good a product demo is or not isn't. And I think that's progressively going to permeate across demos, onboarding, product tutorials, product guides, anywhere you need to enable users.
Okay, talking about AI and human intelligence, what do you think? Can AI replace human intelligence anytime? Like once we have LAMs, when we have agentic workflows, maybe very soon. So do you
Yeah.
think once
Oh, yeah.
we give our knowledge and data to the bot, so do you really think okay AI will replace or basically outlaw the human intelligence?
I think we're already on pace for AI to
Okay.
outpace human intelligence. I think it's putting in the safety measures in order to make sure that humanity as a whole like
Mhm.
fairly benefits, and it's not
Yeah.
just like a siloed few that benefit fully from intelligence of AI. I think, yeah.
Okay. 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 Any advice based on your entrepreneur experience? Of course, you've been working with 7 years with Freshline and of course with Supademo as well. So, what advice would you give to young entrepreneurs or individuals who are pursuing their career in product development and interested,
Yeah.
having AI products for like Supademo?
I'd say just take the leap. Do less analysis and planning and business plan building, and just take the leap and go for it. Right, you're going to learn way more by just putting yourself out there and building and talking to customers and doing discovery, and that is the real way to build businesses, not writing down outlines on a business plan.
Yeah, just
Yeah,
do it. We'll definitely keep it with us and
cool.
share with our audience. Thank you so much for
All right,
your time, Joseph. It's been a pleasure discussing
thank
your
you.
innovative work with Supademo. We
Okay,
wish you good luck
thank you.
for all your future endeavors. Thank you so much.